Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today. We're really looking forward to celebrating day 2 of our virtual campaign kickoff. And today we are going to be talking about empowering our youth. And this is our education panel here today. Just one second here, and we're going to introduce our panelists today. So today we will be talking to Sonia Davis with the Workforce Development, Tammy Lewison with the Crisis Resource Center. Stacy will be joining us here shortly, and Stacy Salinas is with the Blooming Prairie Youth Club. And then we have Michelle Redman with the Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Southern Minnesota. So thank you so much to our panelists today for joining us. We look forward to learning more about how we can empower our youth today. Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you to start with questions for our panelists today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We're just thrilled to have you here. Just a quick comment on the format. We're just going to open it up to the panel. We don't want to put anybody on the spot. I'm not going to start calling on people, but I absolutely can if I have to. So the first question that we got from members of the community, I was wondering if you guys could share a little bit more about what the most significant needs, the education needs in Steele County were before COVID-19, and then how they changed in the wake of the global pandemic.
Well, I could start and address that as far as from the Crisis Center point of view with the violence prevention program. Probably one of the most difficult things for me is addressing those uncomfortable topics that are not always discussed by parents in their homes, the good touch, bad touch, that hands are not for hitting, and what is appropriate and not appropriate, and the thought of being bullied. And unfortunately, none of those things have changed in light of the pandemic. So I'm still kind of business as usual for me at the Crisis Center.
I can go next. I think what we were looking at prior to COVID was just connecting with students. We were lucky to have Steele Co-works and have an opportunity to be where the students are so that we could meet with them regularly to find out what their concerns were, what their employment goals were, and how we could help them achieve that. I think with COVID, immediately our agency decided to change our service model, and we've moved to virtual services. We're still doing intake, we're doing enrollment, we're doing all of that via the phone, technology.
If you get your controller.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay, someone was talking. And we're using technology, FaceTime, texting, and the students actually love it. Who knew? I mean, this is their language anyway. So the first thing I heard back from Anisha, I said, how are you connecting with the students? And she was like, everyone tells me they love this. They, one, they're at home, they're relaxing, and they can still work toward their goals and check in with her on a daily basis. So I think probably the COVID has changed things in the sense that we had fewer employers that were hiring at that time, and even now it's not quite what it once was. So making sure that we're matching them to their goals for job shadowing, for internships, that's a little trickier, but we have confidence that once the employers get more comfortable and we get a handle on things, that we'll be back in the space that we were soon enough.
And I can go next. I love what Sonia said about the youth enjoying distance learning, because we have kind of a little bit different. I can see that the older youth do enjoy it. They're getting a lot done. They're missing the social aspect of their friends is what I hear, but we really see the challenge of our younger youth and distance learning, and the children that we serve. Technology is an issue, and it's great that the schools are providing a tablet, a Chromebook, or something for them to use, because most of the youth that we serve do not have their own devices or that technology option at home. The other thing that we really see is a struggle for our younger youth is the parental help with the online schooling. So they're not always jumping on when they need to jump on. They're not always, there's just a lot more of parent involvement in the schooling that is difficult for if you're working multiple jobs and you have multiple children and trying to get this all done, as we all know. So that has really been a challenge. And during these difficult times, as we know, our children are the ones that suffer the most, and how having a mentor, a big in their life, has been a godsend. It's something that is so crucial during normal times, but during the pandemic, it is even more so.
Excellent. I believe Stacy's with us as well. Stacy's, anything you wanted to add to the this first question?
Let me apologize for, I was on the thing, but I was as an attendee, so I had to figure out how to get off to come back in as a thing. But I think that both of Michelle and Sonia have hit it on the head. It's just us providing a way where we can support and empower the kids in our communities, especially as we figure out how we're going to navigate the future of what this looks like.
Well, great. We're glad that we moved you over and we've got you now.
Do we have any other comments on question 1 before we move on to our next question? Okay, what innovations did COVID-19 bring about in your efforts to keep serving our community?
I think probably I can start with that. As far as innovations, I think that we had no idea what we could do until we were forced to do it. You know, you have organizations that talk a lot about, oh, we should use more technology, or we should make use of all of these great, Zoom meetings. When I think of the money that our organization has saved and mileage costs for running back and forth to meetings, the time we've saved in being able to join a meeting or join a training and then go right back to work, that's not something I think would have happened if it hadn't been for COVID. And I think like meeting our youth with what it is that they connect with easier, that took some time as well. I mean, even when we started posting our job search information on Instagram, there were a few people who were like, why are we doing that? Why not put it in the paper or put it on computer? And I think that COVID helped us see that, okay, we're not going back, we're going forward. And this is actually happening. And it kind of enabled individuals in our agency to say, this is actually a good thing in some ways, and taking from that. And the other thing I'd like to say is we had some of our youth career planners who had young kids at home and all of a sudden didn't have childcare. And my fear was that we would lose all of them, that they, there would be no way that they could work remotely in this space. And luckily we found a way to make that happen. They can keep their jobs and keep supporting the youth and doing the great work that they do, and yet they don't have to leave their own children unattended. So that was another thing that we fell into. Thanks.
Well, Big Brothers Big Sisters has kind of changed a lot of things, because we never promoted technology between our matches before. It was something that was really one-to-one, getting together, spending that time away from screens is what we promoted. We didn't promote talking on the phone or FaceTime or Zoom or whatever different platforms there are. And then all of a sudden we're promoting it. We're saying, okay, you can't meet together. You have to do everything virtually. So we had to change everything we did on a dime. And we have been able to do that with a great board and staff, really change our systems and getting the information out there to the bigs, get it out there to the family. Each one of our matches has a match support specialist, and that job has changed dramatically from not only checking in to see how the match is going and seeing if they're able to connect virtually, but also checking on basic needs of the family, making sure those needs are met. And every child has internet, is able to get on the technology and need to distance learn, provide them with school site tutors to help them even with the technology or with this school. So a lot of things have changed, and now looking into this school year, we have a whole new platform of how we're going to do school site and actually new initiatives to reach more students. And we've had such a great success with our REACH program that we're now moving into the AVID classrooms and providing mentors to AVID kids in the AVID program and doing everything virtually. So the mentor doesn't have to leave their work, and the student can be right there on the platform. And we have now have a virtual academy that each big can go to select their grade that their little is in and find activities to do online. So really, really neat. And I think my head is still spinning, coming up with new ideas to keep moving forward.
I can go as far as for myself reaching out to the students. I mean, it kind of came to an abrupt end suddenly in March and changed things. And fortunately, we had many of our students already met last year. So now we're looking forward to the school year and what we will do to reach them. Many things. Google Meet is real user-friendly. Lots of families and schools have used that. And I've had teachers reach out to me before school even starting saying, how are we going to get your program in? And in this case, much like Michelle's, it is unlike anything we've done. I did every presentation in person. And I think I'm going to miss that. I like that feel or vibe that I'm able to get from the students while I'm presenting. And that's going to be missed, but just the same, this message still has to get out there for each of those grades. This is K through 5, and it's refreshing to me to have, I kind of joke and say I've created a monster. I'm in my 5th year here, and when I started was emailing teachers, can I get in, can I get in? And now they're emailing me and school hasn't started, and they're like, how can we get you in? So whatever it takes, if it's going to be a Google Meet, if it's going to be a Zoom, if it's going to be a pre-recorded and they want to play tape, we're going to just have to change gears a little bit to accommodate the need for these students.
Well, like most of Tammy and Michelle and Sonia have said, we really saw this as like an opportunity to how we position ourselves to be the advocate in our community for youth development. For me, it was more of like a opportunity for us to show like all the great things that we did. And I really challenged our staff to think about it of how we can do the same thing virtually and still show up for them every single day. So most of that had to do with meeting these kids where they're at. So a lot of them are on Facebook, they do Snapchat, they do TikTok. So we came up with like community-based events that we could get everybody in the community involved and help keep developing the youth. So we had like a TikTok challenge. We went around and did Snapchats and had people follow us and be like, where was this snap at? And just really doing events that got the kids out into the community that were still safe with COVID regulations, still showing parents that we were supporting them, having like a power hour on Zoom, and just really getting us to showcase to the community that there's so much more that we can do than just having kids come to us for before and after school program.
That's great. We appreciate all of your insights there. We're getting a couple comments in the chat as well. We'll do our best to circle back to those. We did get quite a few questions submitted from the community, so we're going to kind of focus on those, but hopefully we'll have enough time to circle back and answer some of the questions. So thank you for all the participants who are sending in chats. Next question for the panel is, we're wondering what the outlook for services is moving forward in light of everything that we've experienced with COVID.
I can start. I think probably a good example would be that we have manufacturing week coming up, and normally the state, starts working ahead of time on tours. We are still moving forward with that process. We're just doing it virtually. I'm so excited about that aspect. We're going to have career navigators that are going to be accessible to our employers, the employers who participated in the tours last year and moving forward this year. And there's going to be an invite to all of the communities in our region to take part in it. So, I mean, I think that that's pretty much where we're headed. We've been having our Steele Co-works employer advisory meetings via Zoom. We have our partner meetings sometimes via Zoom. Even meeting with the youth, like I said, we're still enrolling and with them and engaged with them via technology. I believe that Anisha's back in the schools now, so she won't be in Medford and Blooming Prairie because they're not ready to open up to anyone on the outside, but she will be able to continue working with the OH students for now and working with those other students. She can still connect with them and give them information, just won't be in person yet. So I'm not sure how much longer that will last, but we will work around it as best that we can.
Go next. So for us, violence prevention education awareness is a service that's needed now more than ever, especially with people being confined to their homes. And we also see with students on their phone more, we still have the issue of bullying, and that cyber bullying is very, very real. And there were a few hours I used to talk about with the students that they were at school, and we need to be concerned about the hours that they were at home and those situations. And unfortunately now it's kind of reversed, and there's even more of those hours of that. So for us moving forward, violence prevention is definitely going to be addressed on a larger scale.
I think
sorry.
Go ahead, Stacy.
For us, I feel like for the most part, we can operate as much as normal during both the hybrid and the distance learning models. But as far as it comes to, like, we still need to be able to meet the needs that go above and beyond what they're getting at the school day. So for us, it's really about kind of figuring out how we can help support the mental needs when they're in the distance learning portion of it. I feel like for us, with our memberships, it's possible that we could still remain open during that time to be able to meet the social needs for that, as well as the academic needs for K through 6. Our biggest concern is how do we move beyond just the school age care, move to the K through our 6th through 12th grade, and be able to provide the support that our community needs for them. We're definitely looking into different opportunities and what that might look like, but I feel like that's the biggest place for us to make our impact this year.
And I talked a little bit about Big Brothers Big Sisters, how we have a new initiative with the ADVID program. And moving forward, I mean, we've reached out to the communities that we serve, and people want to partner. People want to help the youth and do whatever they can. And we will continue to move forward with our school site, our reach, our AVID programs within the school. But we know now, like I said, the youth of our community have really been impacted by this pandemic and everything that's going on in the world. And it is a lot for adults to face with mental health, but for youth, it is even more so. So having that additional positive role model is so important, and the need is great. And there was a while where we weren't doing any more intake on children and intake on volunteers. We're open, we're doing intake on children, we're taking volunteers, and we see the need, and we want to help with that need and provide as many mentors to the youth in our community as possible, because not only can they help with the academic life, because that is so very important, but also with their social and emotional well-being too.
And it sounds like there might be some additional volunteer opportunities in this virtual world where maybe people couldn't volunteer before. So I'm just going to put that little plug in there for everybody.
Oh, the door is wide open. Yes, we definitely need a lot more volunteer, and you can volunteer in a lot of different ways now, everybody with virtual.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any other comments on that question before we move on to our next? And I'm looking at the time here, so we may not get to all of our questions today, but we're certainly going to try. I'm going to actually, you've answered part of this, and so we may have to cut this one short, but one of the questions from the community was, what can our community do to improve distance learning and ensure that all of the children in our community are being served? So from a community standpoint, you guys are doing great work. What can we do to help?
I would say step up and volunteer with any of these organizations, because any way that you can volunteer with us, it's being a mentor. You can be that extra person that is saying, how is school going? How is this? Are you able to connect? I mean, it's the basic things. Like some of the children in our program had the hardest time even getting that connection and getting on the distance learning and getting things turned in. So having that additional person checking in with you and making sure you're getting things done is very important.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for Steele Co-works, we would love to see more participation in a diversity of industry. So if you're a business and you're looking to hire a youth, connecting with our workforce entry coordinator, we have recently had a strategic planning session with many of our employers, Steele County employers in the area. We also had included the school. Our principal, Kath, was there, and we are aligning our services with that of the Career Pathways initiative that the Owatonna Senior High School is doing. And we're going to have information on how you can offer a job shadow experience and internship to some of these students. And that can be found soon on the Owatonna Chamber of Commerce website. And I would say, if you are a business and it wouldn't do violence to your business to offer a student a job shadow in an industry that they're interested in and thinking that they might want to have a career in, I say, please make yourself available, let your voice be heard, and let's get those students in there so they can appreciate what it's like to have a real work experience, and not to imagine what that work environment is, but actually see it firsthand. So I think that would be invaluable. Thank you.
I can go next. I would just say that we need to continue to work together as a community to provide all of the necessary resources for all of these students. Things have changed for everybody, and ultimately our goal is to continue to provide some consistency for these people. I know students in particular, like Michelle said, it's one thing for an adult to adjust to this pandemic, but for students, it's completely a bigger issue, in my opinion. So I think just to continue to support them and provide the resources for them that are successful for them.
I also agree with them on all of the stuff that our community needs to do to help support them. I'm big on like creating community partnerships. So for us, it has to do with partnering with the school as well and finding out exact needs of the school to bring all of the stuff that they're missing into a real world. Like Sonia mentioned, like creating real world experiences, giving them the opportunities that they would have in a normal environment. How can we step in and create those things for them, whether it's in a virtual or having them do a work program, or having just like a place on our Facebook page that has all the resources that they'll need to go forward. And I also think that we might look into designing like a community challenge to make parents, the students, and the community in the school all take stake in what we're trying to accomplish with the kids.
Well, we've certainly heard a fair amount about some of the challenges that COVID-19 has presented us through this global health crisis. And we've touched on some of these, but I was if you guys could maybe share an example of a success story or a collaboration that has pleasantly surprised you this year.
Well, I'll start just with reaching out. We were trying to figure out our school site. Our high schoolers go into the elementary schools and meet with their littles, and all of a sudden the doors are closed. This cannot happen, and what are we going to do? So we did the virtual academy platform so we can continue with those high schoolers meeting with their littles, but then reached out, like, who else can we serve? We know the REACH program has been super successful. So reaching out to AVID, which is a college and career readiness program, and reaching out to the coordinator, I was in just a few words, and she's like, yes, this is exactly what we want to do. We want to partner with other people and really would love for each one of our students to have an adult mentor. So just, I know everybody's crazy at the school. There's so much going on. Everything's so busy. So getting that answer within first few words, and it was just, yes, let's do this. That is a great success story right now when everything has been so unpredictable. So we're excited.
I can go next. My success story would be very similar to that. I'm thinking that these teachers are overwhelmed with the basic fundamentals of teaching these students K through 5 on a daily basis. And I reached out to them beginning of the summer asking, what are your thoughts on violence prevention, this program coming in? And I had within the same day a response from teachers that are responding in the summer to their school emails saying, we absolutely need you in, this has to come in, and have continued that communication with them to the point of some that I haven't even reached have now reached out to me saying, I know I need this program. How are we going to get this in? And so for me, that is really pretty reassuring and refreshing that they are so adamant to have this program come in when to me, it seemed like there would be so many things that they need to be taking care of. And this is still that important. Refreshing story.
My problem is picking one story, to be honest. I'm really fortunate to have someone like Anisha Zach work for our organization. Literally, she updates us regularly on youth that have sent her an email or sent her, a text telling them how grateful they are for the experience of finding a job. We had one young lady who came her senior year from Kenya. So she had no friends, no experience really here in this country or working in this country. And she started to work with Anisha and was linked up with Federated and got an internship and wrote her and said, I'll never forget what you did for me. Like, it really connected me to something. And so many of our students have been fortunate to have a work experience at Federated. They've been great to partner with. They really do kind of have the kinds of jobs that lend themselves to see the potential in the students, to see if this is someone that they want to continue, working for them as time goes by. So we're grateful for that partnership. And this year it is our mission to find more employers who are willing to have a schedule, who will give us dates and times that our juniors can come in for a job shadow, our seniors can come in for an internship, so that they have that work experience under their belt before they go to college, or maybe if they want to go directly to work, that is now an option for a life-sustaining wage.
Okay, I'm looking at the time here and I cannot believe that it has gone by this quickly. So I'm just gonna throw it out there one more time, and then Tom, you're gonna have to talk really, really fast. So any final words, you guys? What you have attendees in front of you who are so excited to be able to hear what you have to say today. What kind of message can you give to them and to other community members that are going to be hearing your presentations today?
I think probably just to keep supporting United Way, keep supporting programs that lift our students up. I mean, this is a really difficult time. I think someone said earlier, for adults, it's extremely difficult for youth, and they're not always willing to speak up and say, you know, what they're going through emotionally and mentally at this given time. I just think, you know, to have that opportunity to have face-to-face, whether it be virtual or not, with students, and really listen to them and offer those opportunities that can be life-changing. It's invaluable. I appreciate the support that United Way has given this initiative thus far, and I hope that it goes on forever, to be honest. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you,
I
Sonia.
can go. I would just say to anybody listening, thank you again for supporting this program through the United Way. Your dollars are so appreciated and necessary, and these students I appreciate being able to go out and visit with them and share these violence prevention situations and scenarios with them so that they might know what to do if it ever does happen to them. I always kind of say that it's a little bit like a fire drill at school. The school doesn't practice that to scare you, more so it's just in case it would ever happen, you would know what to do. And same with my scenarios with the violence prevention. It's amazing how many of these students are not receiving these things in their home. These discussions, like I said, they're difficult topics, and the United Way allows us to bring these difficult discussions and topics to these students, and with year after year seeing my face, I've become familiar to them, and they're comfortable with sharing their really good things, but they're also comfortable with sharing their concerns. And that's just a relationship that has established over years and would not be possible without United Way. So I want to say thank you for that.
What Tammy and Sonia said, but for me, Live United is all about unity. So I mean, the campaign totally gets us in the point where we're all in this together. It's something that everybody's going through, the children, the adults, on all different scales of that. So, you know, when we become united, we definitely get a chance to see our children succeed, and that does well for all of us, as well as the economy. And we're just all working towards the goal of the common good. What do we need to do to make sure that everything is successful, our children are successful, our schools are successful, our communities are successful. So it's really just about being united. And with the United Way and their campaigns, they definitely help us become united as a community.
I just want to say we live in a great community. We have a fantastic United Way that is super supportive of the needs of our community. And I want to just thank everybody for supporting the United Way and for stepping up and making a difference. You know, there's a lot of challenges ahead of us. We got a lot behind us, and we got this. We just keep moving forward because Steele County is a great place to live.
Well, that is fantastic. We probably should have realized that we should have planned for more than 30 minutes. We flew right through this thing. Thank you so much to all of our attendees who joined us live here today. A very special thank you to all of our panelists, Sonia, Tammy, Michelle, and Stacy. Thank you for sharing your insights, for your time this afternoon, but more importantly, thank you for everything that you do each and every day to continue to fight for the education and the resources that our young people need to become the next generation of leaders here in Steele County. We really appreciate your time and insights. We'll clearly have to schedule a part 2 to this session. It was just tremendous. And thank you everyone who's actually watching this as a recording later on today. There are so many ways that you can join in the fight. You can go over to our website, UnitedWay.SteeleCounty.org. There it is, UnitedWay.SteeleCounty.org. There's information on our COVID-19 resources, which we mentioned earlier, ways how you can get involved. You can volunteer, you can donate, you can text to give as well. Text UWSC 2020 to 91999. Again, that's text UWSC 2020 to 91999. Thank you so much for everybody who joined us here this afternoon. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody, for attending today. And again, thank you to our frontline workers here on today's call for the work that you do to ensure that our kids have what they need to be successful. We're going to end up today's presentation with a very short video, I promise. Join the fight. Go ahead and load that up, Tom.
Fight for their well-being. Fight for their future. Fight for their success. For her safety. For his security. For their stability. We need you to join the fight because change doesn't happen alone. When we join together and live united, we fight for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in our community. Join the fight. United Way.
Have a wonderful day, and we hope that you'll come back the rest of the week to watch our other panelists. Take care, you guys.
Thank you.